Hello once again. My name is Negative Legend, and I'm here to answer the question, what happened to Spore? If you've gone all this time without hearing of Spore, you either weren't a kid growing up with the internet in 2008, or you managed to go through nearly 3 years without talking to anyone. For those who are unaware, Spore is an online game created in 2008 that was released on Mac and PC. The idea is that you create your own alien race and start life. Literally all life. You begin as a microbe and evolve into the possibly vulgar creation you made.
I love our flappy snout. I love everything about it. Like, we got our mouth up in front and our wings on the sides. We're aerodynamic.
We could probably fly.
Oh yeah, I bet. And we have tiny itty bitty calves and tiny feet. Itty bitty micro foot on the thing.
Our balance is gonna be great.
Oh, our balance? Dad, don't even worry about our balance.
Your species would evolve socially as well, eventually following similar paths of our human civilization and eventually exploring space for colonization, which is something that was new and had never been done before, and thus is why it became a pivotal game. However, the gameplay was considered shallow. The concept it achieved was grand, but they somewhat forgot they were making a game while chasing this idea, and the reviews for the game suffered because of it. As with all games that ripples across gaming culture, Spore developed a community. EA, the creators of Spore, would actually start their own YouTube channel where they showcased the most popular videos created by other users surrounding Spore. Players could even subscribe to another player and see any Spore creations that player created. The Spore community was self-governed in many ways, working as a democracy to ban players who didn't follow guidelines set by subcategories of the community. But, as with anything EA creates, there was controversy, specifically with DRM, or Digital Rights Management. Really, the issue was that SecuROM, the program they used to keep people from copying their game and giving it to their friends for free, required constant and repeated authentication. This annoyed people for obvious reasons. A class action lawsuit was filed against EA for its use on this game. Electronic Frontier Foundation believed that fair use rights are restricted by the DRM applications of SecuROM. Spore's DRM was considered intrusive, and that it, quote, did everything but set the users' houses on fire. The biggest issues with SecuROM was that its existence wasn't disclosed in the EULA, and that the program doesn't appear anywhere when a user tries to add or remove programs. Hopefully, you can see why this caused issues. But that's just a normal day when it comes to EA. Let's get back to the game instead of the legal issues. Spore was created by Maxis, which is currently a subsidiary of EA. They're best known for simulation-type games like The Sims. They had huge success with The Sims, but eventually failed commercially with their upcoming games, which was when EA bought them out. After Spore became a huge success, EA did what any other company would do, and milked it for as much as they could. They created Spore Creature Creator that released on Mac and PC in 2008, which released prior to the main game of Spore. This was, well, a creature creator. You created creatures. An expansion was soon released in the same year called Spore Creepy and Cute, where it expanded its creature creator to include paints, parts, and backgrounds. Spore Creatures released in 2008 for Nintendo DS as a spin-off developed by Kryptonite Games. It was much more of an RPG than anything else, and it was also my very first Nintendo DS game. The game was mediocre, and was clearly more directed towards a younger audience with a cutesy artistic direction. Spore Origins released on mobile devices in 2008 as another spin-off of Spore. This only focused on the cell phase of the gameplay and simplified the game as just a cell trying to survive. Spore Galactic Adventures was released in 2009 as an expansion to the online-based game Spore. This allowed players to take place as space captains on adventures. Spore Hero released on Wii in 2009, developed by Maxis. This game focused on collecting items to customize the player's creation. You explore a world and change your creature as the game progresses. Spore Hero Arena released the same time as Spore Hero as a spin-off, but this time for the DS. Finally, Darkspore released in 2011, developed by Maxis. It borrowed the creature editing technology from Spore and described itself as a fast-paced action RPG. This was a top-down, dark and gritty version of Spore that played similar to StarCraft. It wasn't received too well because it required the user to always be online in order to play. In 2016, the servers for Darkspore were shut down.
The simplest form of life has the potential to go out and have immense, interesting interactions in this basically lifeless galaxy. That's really the story of Spore. What does a lifeless galaxy look like? Then you drop life in. What does that life do within the galaxy? And in doing so, you actually end up hitting all these different scientific subjects, and you get an interesting perspective on things like physics and chemistry, biology, sociology. Starting at the very beginning of the game, we're using kind of a panspermia theory of life coming to this planet, starting single cell, then going up through evolution. One of the interesting things that happens is that you have this successive kind of interplay between cooperation and competition. You'll have little cells competing. At some point, some of them decide to group together and cooperate, and they become specialized, and you get multicellular organisms. Then you have individual creatures competing. At some point, some of them start grouping together, forming very simple little societies, out-competing the individuals. And as a society, they also tend to specialize.
In 2015, the Spore Galactic Edition was released containing the base game, a DVD that held the making of Spore, another DVD that detailed how to build a better being, and art book, and a 100-page galactic handbook, a poster, and all inside a snazzy plastic box with engravings. This retailed for $80, which is more than double the price of the base game, but the sales were so pitiful that the price was reduced to $40. Nowadays, you can find it for about $10. For some reason, I couldn't find any toys based off Spore, which I thought would be the first thing EA would do with this sort of thing, but it's possible I just missed them when researching. If there's anything I missed, tell me in the comments below. As of today, you can still play Spore by downloading it from their main website or by purchasing it through Steam. That's everything I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay beautiful and keep playing.
Hey, cheer up. I think some groovy tunes may be just what the doctor ordered to snap us out of this nasty funk.